Good morning. My name is Chris Fox, and welcome to the Evil GM Tricks series. This is the very first one, Evil GM Trick number 1, the second party. So let's discuss first what Evil GM Tricks are. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how this tip can be used so that you can actually trick your party and do something that your party will love. And then I'm going to show you how I used it in a campaign that I ran at some point in my gaming career. So you'll hear first how it works, and then you'll see how I used it. So let's just jump right in and I'll show you how kind of the whole process works. So step 1, tell your party that you're kind of a little bit burnt out and you have an idea. So you're going to want to run a one-off session that's set in the same game world. So you're going to run a game and they get to make new characters. Now this is where step 2 comes in, and this part's very important. These characters that they're making, the second group, they need to be way overpowered, way more powerful than the first group. So if the two groups were to go head to head, it looks like these new characters would beat them. You're letting them power game. You're letting them do things you wouldn't ordinarily do. If their existing group is 5th level and you're playing like let's say a Dungeons & Dragons game, maybe the new party is 7th level. So they're definitely stronger and they're going to have an advantage. And your goal here is you want the party to be clearly stronger. And that leads to step 3. When you run the overpowered party through the one-off adventure, their adventure is hunting down the original party. So their main characters that presumably they've been playing for weeks or months or years, depending on how long your campaigns have been going, you want them to realize immediately, oh my god, I've just created a monster. I have made a character that can probably kill my main character. And what you're trying to do is rile up your group a little bit and have them worry, oh my gosh, who's going to win? They should worry that this new group is going to wipe out their main characters that they're much more attached to. And I punctuate this with session breaks. So like when I drop the bomb, that's the end of the session, and they've got a full week to worry what's going to happen, which takes us to step 4. End that session with the overpowered party being put into a position to ambush the main group. So you're ending this session and you're saying, okay, you guys are stronger and you're dug in and you're ready to hit your main characters. Your main characters are going to be like fish in a barrel and they're just going to lose. And now we jump to the step 5, and this is where it gets fun for you as a GM and why your players will thank you at the end, even while they hate this. You're going to play through the original characters, and they're going to receive a tip early on about the ambush. So the whole session that you're running is them running a counter ambush, and when the combat plays out, it's actually the overpowered party that's at a severe disadvantage. And you as the GM are going to run that overpowered party, and it's them that are the fish in the barrel, and they're going to get cut down. So your real party, the original party that they're actually attached to, comes out ahead, and you're engineering that for them. So you want to scare your characters a little bit and give them the idea that they've created their own worst nightmare. And if you do this well, it's amazingly fun. I ran this in a Shadowrun 3rd edition game. And I just gave a much higher point build to these new characters, and I removed all availability limits. So whatever they wanted, whatever type of cyberware or bioware or magic, foci or anything that they wanted, all this super powerful stuff they were able to have. And they put together the ultimate strike team. They were an Technology strike team being sent by this corporation to wipe out their main Shadowrunning team. And at this point, we've been playing for 18 months. And I think we'd maybe missed like 2 sessions. So like every week pretty much for 18 months. And they were really into their characters. They had, 500 or 600 karma. They were a tightly woven group and they really got along well. And so when I ran this scenario, I remember the look on my friend Luke's face when Luke realized what was happening. Because I didn't tell them immediately what they were doing. I was dribbling out pieces of information. So he's now made a sniper that can just kill somebody from a mile away easily without ever being detected. He's made like the ultimate sniper, and he realizes that his main character has no chance at all. And I watched the fear on his face where he's like, oh my god, this new character is going to kill the old one. And you got to see him wrestle with that scenario where he was looking at the strengths of both characters and just terrified about what was going to happen. And I've never seen him as engaged in a game session, ever. This was the guy who oftentimes would be interested in something else during the game. He's on a smartphone, maybe he's chatting with one of the other players while you're trying to run a roleplay scene. This is a guy that wouldn't engage. During this segment, he engaged. Oh boy, did he engage. And he told me I'm not sure I can even do this. Like, I don't know if I can play through this session. I'm so worried that my character is going to die. And so when I did the twist at the end where the original characters turned out to be the stronger one, he was so excited. And that was his favorite session pretty much of all time, he had said at that time, where, we turned the tables and he was able to see, his original character shine. So what you're doing is subverting their expectations, but in the opposite of a Game of Thrones way. You're making them think a series of events is going to play out. In a perfect world, they doubt your abilities as a GM, where they're like, oh, maybe, mechanically you just haven't figured out that the other party is stronger and is going to kill our main characters. But that delicious week of fear where my players were terrified they were going to lose their characters is still talked about decades later. So this was in the 90s that I ran this, and here we are, 25 years later, and when we get together at parties, this is still brought up by Luke or by some of the other players sometimes, when they're talking about what their favorite sessions were. So that's why it makes it into the annals as an evil GM trick. It can be adapted to any setting that you want to use it for, from Dungeons & Dragons to the Magitech Chronicles. And what I may do is try using this in a session on a group that hasn't seen it and seeing how that plays out and see if I can't record that. So I don't know, I may have a separate video where you see the trick in action. But I wanted to give you the overview. Now, if you give this a try and you use it on your group, I would love to hear in the comments how that goes and what you guys think, but I hope you have fun with this. If this is popular, I will keep more Evil GM tricks coming. I've done lots of dastardly things over the years that I can show you how to do to your party, and they will love to hate you for it. All right, guys, I do need to get back to the writing. I will see you next week.